We're talking about spreads today, and in this rumors video, we're going to go over each game because, Vegas came out with their spreads, overs, and unders, and the Detroit Lions are only favored in 4 games. We're going to go through each game, talk about it. Is it reasonable, the point spread? Should you go ahead, pick it, or not? We're going to get all into it. But before we get into today's video, if you think it's a sound and smart idea to jump on a roller coaster, ones that go upside down, and decide not to strap in, so when you go upside down, you fall out, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, because we took all things Detroit Lions news and rumors. And sometimes being a Lions fan, you can fall flat on your face. Also, take that like button with you and let that bad boy get ejected. Let's get into today's Lions rumors. The first 4 games here is interesting when you look at the point spread. First off, like I said, only 4 games. Do I think that's reasonable? I honestly don't really care about that. It's a little disrespected, but at the same time, we only won 3 games last year, so I understand it. But it is what it is. That's what, Vegas thinks. And if you think that's not the case, we have a chance, or you have a chance to win some money. So let's go to the Philadelphia game. The Detroit Lions are favored to lose this game by 4.5 points. What do I think about this spread? I actually would bet on the Lions to cover this one because I think we're still going to lose the game, but it's going to be closer than 4.5. Unlike last year, the Detroit Lions, we got smoked. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think it's going to be a closer game. So I would go ahead and bet on the Lions to pull within 4.5 points. Is only 4 games being favored good? Is it reasonable? Let me know in the comment section below. Y for yes and N for no. Do you think they should be favored in more games? Do you think they should be favored in less? I honestly think it's all right just because we didn't win last year. But at the same time, I am a betting man, and there is ways to make some money this year because I think they're going to win more than 4 games. So I like it that way. We go ahead and go to week 2. The Detroit Lions are favored to win this game with the Washington Commanders as a -1 here. I think that the Detroit Lions is going to win the game, but at the same time, I think they'll win by more than 1 point. I think that they can beat the Washington Commanders. When I look at Carson Wentz, he's not a reliable quarterback. He tends to get injured. And I think there's some issues going on with the Commanders itself. And if you look at the past, the Detroit Lions tend to beat them a lot. Corey from On the Warpath hates it because we're always beating his football team. So I think the Lions will do a little bit better than just 1 above the Commanders. Now we're at the Minnesota Vikings here. The Lions +5. I think the Detroit Lions going to keep it closer than that. I would definitely bet on the Lions to probably keep it within 3 points in this game. Right now they're +5. That what Vegas thinks that the Minnesota Vikings are going to take care of business. But if you look at last year, the Detroit Lions were within 1 drive every single time. It was a field goal or 1 point. I think it's going to be the same here. So bet on the Lions on this one. I think that spread is not good. So that's a great way to make some money. Seattle Seahawks, they have the Lions winning by 1 point. I think that's absolutely incorrect. I think the Detroit Lions are going to win probably by 7 or more. I have Seattle Seahawks being the worst team in the NFL. I have no hope in Drew Lock. The Detroit Lions are at home. I think that the Seattle Seahawks are going to be in a world of hurt for this game. So if you like to bet on the Lions to win more than 1. I think that one is off by the voters there in Vegas for sure. I think that's not a good one from them, but a great for us if you're a betting man for sure. And you can go to chessports.com/lionsbet to bet on these games. That's BetUS. You put in the promo code LIONS125, you get a 125% deposit bonus. Folks, you're going to win some money this year. Because I have the Lions winning 7 to 8 games. Get her done. Next, week 5 at New England Patriots. They got New England winning by 5 points. I actually would say this is reasonable here. I think when you're going to New England and they are a playoff team, Bill Belichick, he can definitely game plan well, even though I really, really, really want the Detroit Lions to win this game because of Pat Matricia. I still think it's going to be difficult, given that they are a good football team, so I think that one's all right. Bye week, week 6. Week 7, we're going against the Dallas Cowboys. They have Dallas 6.5 points ahead of the Detroit Lions in this game. I would actually believe that the Lions will keep it a little bit closer. Again, if you look at the Detroit Lions versus Dallas throughout, I'd probably say the last decade, it's fairly been close where it's come down to the last drive. So I think that you could bet on the Lions. I'm not saying the Lions are going to win the game, but I think it'll be closer than 6.5 points right there. Miami Dolphins here, week 8. This is actually a good spread here. They have Miami winning +3. This is my upset, though, of the year. I guess people say, well, this shouldn't be an upset. It's the Miami Dolphins. I think Miami got better, a lot of speed. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I have the Detroit Lions winning, maybe by a field goal or by 1 point last-minute drive. So I would take the Lions to cover this one for sure. A great way to bet on that. But I'm not mad that Vegas put it at +3. Totally get it here because it is the Dolphins. Week 9, Green Bay. They have Green Bay winning by 5 points. Again, that's reasonable. We've been destroyed by the Green Bay Packers throughout the years. Understand it. And it's probably right, in all honesty, that they could win by 5 points for sure. I mean, it's the Green Bay Packers. Let me know in the comment section below. What is your game you think the Lions will win that Vegas and majority of people think the Lions are going to lose? What is your upset game of the year? Just put the name of the game, week, whatever you want to put it. Put that in the comment section. I'm curious to see what you guys think on this one for sure. Then we go to week 10. Right now, Chicago is 1.5 favorites. I actually think the Detroit Lions should potentially win this game, but as we know, sometimes we lose games you should win. It's at Chicago, and that could just be an upset here. I'm not mad about the +1.5. The Lions are more talented, I believe, than the Chicago Bears. But how many times have you seen the refs throw something at us when we're at Chicago, or something happens where we lose a game? That could be one of those games. Not upset about it. Week 11, Giants. The Lions, again, are 1.5 to lose this game. I think the Lions could win this game. I would go ahead and say the Lions are going to win it maybe by 3 points. You go ahead and bet on this game for sure. The Giants, we don't really know what's going on. There's injuries they've had with Saquon Barkley. Kenny Galladay didn't really work out last year, and their quarterback is having a lot of issues. They didn't even pick up his fifth-year option. So I'd say the Lions could win it. Bet on that game for Lions. Buffalo Bills +8 here for the Lions. I think that's absolutely fine. I think the Buffalo Bills could potentially beat us by double-digit points. So I don't think the Lions are going to win, but I would bet on the Buffalo Bills to defeat us more by 8 points. So that's a game I would bet on, but not for the Lions to win for sure. Now we finally get a Lions game where the Lions are predicted to win this. That's Jacksonville Jaguars. I agree. Lions should be predicted to win this game. -2. I'd probably make it at a -3 in all honesty. It's at Detroit. Lions should win that game for sure. So, but I'd probably go -3 here. Fourth quarter of the season, the Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings. Oh, I don't even have it up here. I think it's +1, by the way. I would say that's reasonable. Again, I'm not going to be upset about it. It could go either way. Minnesota Vikings are back and forth with the Lions. We've seen it last year. We talked about it earlier. New York Jets are predicted to win by 2.5 points at New York Jets. I guess that's okay because it's at New York. It could be a flip-flop there. I'm not going to be upset with the 2.5 points. Versus Carolina Panthers. Again, Carolina is +2. You can't see the point. Can't see the 0.0 after that, but it's +2. I think that's false. I think the Detroit Lions will beat the Carolina Panthers. That should be a win for the Detroit Lions. Bet on that game. Chicago Bears at home. Lions are predicted to win the game at -1.5. I would probably do -3. So I say that for the Lions to win this game is good, but I would take more than -1.5. And Green Bay Packers Lions, it's +8. So you couldn't see it there, but it is +8. I think that's not going to happen. I think Green Bay will have locked up the NFC North. They're going to do what they did last year, and the Lions potentially could win that game. I would definitely bet on the Lions on this one. You can win a lot of money because this happened last year. Green Bay had it locked up. They rested the rest of their players. The rest is history. Lions won the game. You're going to make some money on that game. Like I said, Lions, I have them 7-8 wins this year. They have only Lions winning 4 games. Great way for you to take advantage and win a little bit of money. And also, understand that you know your team a little bit more than some of these odds makers. And I think that's reasonable for the Lions to win more than 4 games. And they should be, in my opinion, maybe odds to win a couple more games. But I'm not going to be upset with only 4 because they only won 3 last year. And again, I like to make some money. Make sure you follow me on social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LNU, at MicroMike, MicroMike85. You put on MicroMike, I'm going to show up. That is what it is. We got mailbag video tomorrow. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss out. With that said, folks, adios.